Hello, friends. My name is Steve, and we're back again for Cinephile Saturday. We're going through the Alien franchise, and I've been kind of dreading this one for a while, but I'm glad to hear that the group seems to be divided, which is good, because if we all hated it, then it'd be not a lot of fun to discuss it. So, Susanna, will you start us off with an introduction?
Hello, my name is Susana Imaginario. I am a writer and sometimes YouTuber at Ten of the Weird.
And Joshua.
Hi, I'm Joshua, and I'm a member of the Page Chewing Forums.
And Anthony, glad you can make it.
Thank you. My name is Anthony Self. I'm a sometimes YouTuber with my channel Horrible that does indie games. I've also written a couple of books, one called Birthday Treat, which is this dystopian novel, and another collection of short horror stories.
Nice. So this one, okay, I'm going to try to not be too brutal, but just as to start off with, I don't know why this movie was made. I don't know why why they asked the people who made it to make it. Well, I should say to write it, because I think the aesthetic and the ideas behind it, I think there's some good ideas there, but the delivery, the writing, especially with I believe Josh Whedon wrote it. He's one of the writers, and you can feel his fingerprints all over it. And I do wonder how much the crew of the Betty influenced Firefly, like if that was the beginning of Firefly.
Even the
Yes.
ship, even the
Yeah.
ship. So,
Yes, but the best thing about this movie is I forget his
That it
name.
ended.
Well, that
which
too.
version did you guys watch? Did you see the special edition or the theatrical edition, or?
I
I saw the
watched the
special.
I watched the normal the theatrical
Yeah,
edition
me
and
too.
and then the extra scenes
Yeah.
just to I've watched both at some point, but
Yeah, me too.
this time I always prefer the normal one.
Yeah, the theatrical, the intro is more gruesome than.
Stupid. Oh no, sorry. The special edition, the intro is more stupid.
Yeah, that one is very
The
stupid.
theatrical is
The theatrical one is gruesome.
I had forgot about that one. It's just
Yeah,
like,
with the bug.
that was a clever move. Just don't show it.
Yeah.
Shouldn't even be part of the extras, I think.
But yeah.
Okay, I have a disclaimer
Okay.
before we start.
Hot take.
No, it's just so the rest of the discussion makes sense. So for me, the Ripley that I love, the character that I love, died in Alien 3. This is not the same character for me. This is a sort of spin-off. And it's fine because they made it clear in the plot that there was something went terribly wrong during the cloning process, and her personality is not the same. It's not the same character for me at all. So with that in mind, I could move on, because if I kept comparing to what came before, I wouldn't enjoy it. So that is my disclaimer. I've made my peace with the fact that it's not the same replay.
But yeah, Steve was like, okay, so Josh Whedon wrote some of the script, and that's all I can say that's good about it. I'm gonna have to say, Steve, after you watching it, I said before, I really loved this one because it had more action and other things. There were parts that I hated more than before. We'll get there. But I loved the movie overall a lot more than I used to.
I think
Do
I
you think
hated it
it's-
more.
Yeah. Do you think, like, for example, I know, like, with Alien 3, which is like the kind of dark horse of the franchise in that respect, I've kind of gone back later in life and rewatched Alien 3, and I get this kind of feeling that I appreciate it more, especially the assembly cut sort
Definitely.
of thing. With Alien Resurrection, I can't abide it. For me, this is like the Joel Schumacher Batman Forever sort of where everyone becomes a caricature, where the kind of action they've tried to kind of encompass the kind of action of Aliens with this kind of, I mean, I know Jean-Pierre Jeunet sort of thing that's directed this and is very visionary director in his own right, but this felt too European, this Alien Resurrection film for me. Like, you know, you've already kind of got this franchise, which is like this dark, gritty kind of world. And he's basically made it into a kind of circus performance, if you will. Like a lot of the characters are trying to emulate previous characters that we've seen in the franchise. You know, you've got Hillard, who's meant to be the kind of Vasquez kind of character. You've got, you know, Brad Dourif, who's Brad Dourif. Like, I mean, he's fantastic in whatever role he's in anyway. But he just hams it up to dial 11 on this one. Winona Ryder, I think, was miscast as the android.
That is
Call.
one of the gripes I have.
You know, yeah. You know, you've got. I mean, you can all. Ron Perlman is Ron Perlman. Like, he's always going to be playing that kind of gruff, and he's one of the few characters in this that I actually like. But for me, the outshining red flag is Dan Hidaya's General Perez. Like, the guy is just a massive caricature.
Nailed it on the
Even
head.
his death is just is balmy. You know, where you've had people die in previous installments of the franchise. His one is just comical, and for me, that's a jump in the shark moment, and that's when I kind of tapped out, and I'm like, no. The CGI in this is a lot better than in Alien 3. Like, let's be honest, like, it is there is, it still kind of stands up sort of thing today, but in the whole, as you said, Steve, like, you see you see his kind of fingerprints all over this. There's some very cool moments in the film. There's some very unique signature moments. But this is what I feel like. This is just a film that's been stitched together. Like, you had the writer's room where people were just like, hey, this is cool. Hey, let's have this guy who's got like retractable gun arms who ricochets bullets over the place. Hey, let's have this bit where there's an underwater scene where, you know, there are some and the newborn. We'll get to that. I'm sure we'll get to the newborn later on. But it just, for me, this film was like a stitch work, a Frankenstein's monster of like stitched together cool scenes. Let's have this happen. Let's have that happen. There's no character arcs. I'm one of those kind of people, whenever there's time travel or clones that get involved in a franchise, that's when I tap out. I hate it. I used to read the Spider-Man comics when I was younger. When the Clone Saga came along, that's when I came out. I hate time travel in films. That was the death of the MCU when they introduced it in Endgame. Everything like that for me is like, whenever you introduce time travel or clones, I'm out.
But what if?
And this was that moment for the Alien franchise.
Yeah.
Sorry, I ranted there a little
it's
bit,
fine,
but
it's fine.
that's why I feel so passionate about this.
You are spot on, sir, with the General Perez character. That's the one that I really, really dislike and through this entire movie, as in wrongly cast. Winona Ryder is bad, but that character just, it kills a lot. And you're correct about that they took everything that was cool and put it in here like a Frankenstein's monster, but it makes for a very good action flick. And I mean, I really liked it as an action movie. As an Aliens franchise movie, it's not great. That's what it is. It shouldn't be here, but at the same time, I still love it for what it does, for the action scenes. The gore is amazing for its time. And Brad Dourif, I mean, that guy is just balls to the wall crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen in the if you were a fan of like the DC comics, the Alien, DC,
Dark Horse.
Dark Horse, sorry, with the Dark Horse comics, like, you've seen this. It feels like they just ripped a lot of stuff off from those comics, in particular like Labyrinth, where you have like scientists, trying to make the alien their bioweapon of the era, sort of thing. In terms of what I would have preferred after Alien 3, I mean, let's be honest, like with the kind of trilogy as it was, it kind of ended. I would have preferred a new start, like forget Sigourney Weaver, like as Ripley. They tried to bring her back, but as you said, Susanna, this is not the Ripley we know. This is a clone of the Ripley. Like, she's half alien. Like, how does that even work with her blood having acid in it, sort of thing? They don't really explain any of this kind of stuff. It's meant to be like a new spin on it, but obviously bringing back an old IP character, it just smacks of like nostalgia baiting, like trying to get the kind of people. I would have preferred this if they had actually gone, with Alien 3 was meant to be, originally they were sort of teasing that it was going to be on Earth, like having the Earth War storyline. I think with Alien 4 or Alien Resurrection, what they should have done is gone down that road. They should have like sacked off the Ripley character. They should have started with brand new characters. That would have freshened up the whole IP. But no, of course, they wanted to play it safe. Even Sigourney Weaver herself has said, when asked like, why did you return to the franchise, that she said like, oh, a massive truck came and dumped a load of money on it, sort of thing. And when you get to that kind of point, when your main actress is like just basically phoning it in for the money, then in that respect, like, you're doomed already. The blueprint is there. Like, it's not going to be a success. I remember when I was really young, I think, I can't remember the film, maybe it was Speed 2 Cruise Control sort of thing, but I remember being in there and seeing the trailer for it, and I was excited. I was really excited. It was like, this is 1997. When was Alien 3? 1992?
2 or 3, yeah.
So you've had that kind of time span of like, wow. And like, this was kind of, the internet was in its infancy sort of thing. So I had no idea that Alien 4 was coming out. So when I saw this in the cinemas, I was hyped. I was so hyped up for it. But then when I actually started watching it, it was, I think, 5 minutes in, and I was like, this is bad. This is going to be bad. And I was correct in that assumption. It's not a good film.
Did you notice?
We need to
Aesthetically, stylistically, I can't fault it. It's a really stylized film. As I said before, there are some great moments in it. But overall, this is not an Alien film. This is the Joel Schumacher, Batman Forever thing going on.
I'm sorry, Susanna.
It's a spin-off, but we need to put it into context. So this was 97. So, cloning was a big thing.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park had happened in the meantime between
96,
Alien 3. So, it made sense at the time. I remember when I first heard about it, and I said, well, of course they're going to clone her. And I was excited. So, that this could be an interesting thing. But the movie, it's all 90s. It has all the tropes of the 90s, of that era. And yeah, as a spin-off, I think it was successful. It was entertaining.
Yep.
But
did you notice her acting?
Not as an Alien movie.
Did you notice her acting was the same as in Snow White?
It was very similar, wasn't it?
Yep. The nails and everything, and when she held the face of Winona Ryder, I was like, this is Snow White all over again.
Yeah. It must have been pretty easy for her, yeah.
Let's keep the nails on.
Well
Let's do
spotted.
this.
I have to see.
Yeah,
When was Snow White? I know I have to go and check.
I actually don't like that Whedon was involved in this. It's not the right writer for this series, but Michael Wincott, I think, is the best thing about this movie because he's like the coolest dude
And
ever.
97
he's
as
one
well.
of the first people that gets killed off. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got some great actors in this. Let's be honest, like there are some really good actors, and Michael Wincott is like that. I mean, he could just narrate, your life, and you'd be like,
Yeah.
Steve,
It's amazing
was
voice.
doing a
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah,
It
he's
was
great voice,
killed
and
too
his
quickly,
character
too fast.
Yeah.
too early.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
too early,
shouldn't
yeah.
have been the first. Like he's the captain of the Betty sort of thing. You've got this ragtag mercenary group that are basically bringing these alien eggs to the research station. It's a good setup. I mean, but as I said, like it's stuff that we've kind of seen before. They were trying to mix the colonial marines of aliens with this kind of ragtag motley crew, and he was the captain. And it felt like he was starting to have an arc. And then he's the first one that gets killed.
And it didn't make
and then
sense.
You're left with all these other people.
It didn't make sense because they were
Yeah.
kidnapping people to get the eggs to, like the facehuggers and stuff. So they kidnap everybody, but they kill him, and the general. The general is fine, but why did they kill him instead of just grabbing him and putting him in one of those cocoons? Didn't make sense.
I think the main thing was they were like, he's the captain, he's the leader of the group, so we're going to kill him off so that we have this group now that are disbanded, and it kind of makes it more tense because they don't have a leader
Or they were
anymore.
out of money.
And I kind of get that.
We need to kill this character quick.
Michael Wincott was like, look, I'm in for like 2 weeks and that's all you've got from me and I'm out, sort of thing. So yeah.
But you're probably right that they have thought, so they should be able to deduce that he's the one in charge.
Yeah, and then you have, I think, because I suppose if he was left alive, then the Ripley character who becomes the leader of the group, essentially, telling them that, she can sense the aliens now. And that's another thing as well. Time travel, cloning, and telepathic, things going on with humans and aliens. We'll get to it in a bit.
Don't
sort
ever
of thing,
read my
but,
books.
The thing is, though, one of those strands in itself can work if the setting, if the aesthetic's in place. But I think they just tried to cram too much in this, and the whole thing with her having this telepathic link with the aliens. And there's the scene once again. They already jumped the shark with moments, but then when she's kind of being romantically hugged, guided, and brought into this kind of orgy scene with the aliens. It was just like,
that was purely for the artwork, though. When she's lying there on that entire thing, it's like
a Renaissance painting. Sort of thing,
a Geiger painting. Like, it was.
Yeah.
I
skipped way far ahead though,
It's
so
fine.
we'll go back to bringing the crew in and. Once again, as I said, there are kind of really cool moments, when Wincott's character Elgin, when he's having the bourbon, the whiskey, and it's like a little cube, and it gets kind of bloop into those are little cool moments and stuff like that. But as I said, this is just once again another kind of aspect of it seemed like there were lots of ideas that just crammed in, hey, let's have this cool thing happen here and let's have this cool thing happen there. Whereas, and what's been now degraded is the actual characters. You have all these kind of really cool characters, Christie, who's got the kind of retractable taxi driver guns. That's basically all his character is. He can ricochet bullets. That's it. Ron Perlman's Jonah character, he's this gruff kind of guy with some cool scars. But do we? I mean. Yeah, do we actually have much in the way? You have Dominique Pinon's character who's in the wheelchair, and the wheelchair's like a gun.
He moved in one,
but we don't really get to know them.
When he's working in the ship next to Winona Ryder, his legs are moving. I noticed that. I was like, isn't he disabled? But he's not disabled in real life, so yeah, it's kind of hard to act if you're lying down and doing something like this because you're moving your back. And then the other thing I noticed was Space Jam came out in '96, Chicago Bulls and everything, basketball was huge, so we have to have a basketball scene in space. I mean, come on.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And the infamous, obviously, take where, Sigourney Weaver did actually throw the ball behind her and it went in the net, nothing but net. Kobe. And obviously, the thing is, even the camera shot, the ball goes out of the frame.
But,
so everyone just thought it was a special effect. But
that's in the extras if you...
Didn't see them, sorry.
If you have the control, she actually hit it. And they wanted to reshoot it because it went off frame, so people would think that it was fake. But no, she insisted, no, this one stays because I didn't. Yeah. I was like, well done.
And you even see Ron Perlman's reaction, they literally cut
exactly.
just because he starts smiling, and they cut just as he's like, whoa.
It was about to break character right there.
I'm still convinced that she would have been a better pick as the character for Space Jam 2, Ripley for Space Jam 2. She would have been better. 100%.
I like that. I would have watched that. Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay, so here's the thing. When I first watched the movie, I liked it. I mean, I hated that I liked it. I was a kid. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I still enjoyed it. And then I was dreading now watching again, I thought I was gonna hate it and just be overly critical of everything. But once again, despite my best efforts of, trying to criticize everything, I ended up laughing and enjoying some of the bits and appreciating just for what they are. Once I, put it in my head that it's not the same Ripley, then I could enjoy. And the thing is, the characters, the crew, they work very well together. The pacing is great, in my opinion. Yep. The dialogue, of course, it's Joss Whedon, so it's always gonna have 12-year-old
So
boy
much
jokes,
more
which is fine.
quotable than
I like
Alien
it.
3. Yeah.
I like, yeah. And yeah, it's light. It's an action flick. It's a good spin-off, and in many ways, it was scarier than the other movies. In many ways, mainly two things I think hit me more or scared me more than the other movies when you actually think about it. One is, we talked about last time on Alien 3, just how cruel the ending was, that the best that Ripley could was to stop the aliens, was to sacrifice herself. And, in this movie kind of not only invalidated everything, all her sacrifice, but now she is part alien. That for the character, if she remained the same, it would have broken. She would go insane. Imagine that it was bad enough to carry the Queen, but now just have alien in your own DNA. When you think about that, it's pretty cruel, creepy. The second one, the baby alien, it freaks me out so. I think it's the creepiest thing ever created. The normal alien was scary, but it was never. I never thought of it as repulsive, even with all the drool and etc. But this one really creeps me out. It's so.
But then it's well
everything, the nose, the eyes, the skin. So they really created something monstrous, at least for my senses.
Yeah.
I thought I was over it, and I found myself cringing again. So well done.
Nothing positive, Steve.
What do you
Nothing
guys think?
There's a couple of things that I think the idea is okay. I think there's some potential. I like the visuals. Like there's like a gritty, like a film feel to it. It feels like a
filter.
There's like a gritty film on. Yeah, I kind of like that. So there are some. The bones of it are okay. It's just the characters, like the franchise, or there's really no information about it doesn't move forward in any way. Like the world doesn't expand at all. There's no information that we're given to add to anything we already have. That doesn't really add anything. And then we have Ripley at the end going to Earth, and it's like this wasteland, and it's like,
that's only in the special cut, not in the theatrical
special
cut.
edition.
Yeah. That was more bleak. That was
And
like,
actually,
why did they do this? It was like,
yeah.
But think about it. If they had gone through with it, it wouldn't be again such a. I think it would be a better ending. That after everything she'd done, all the effort not to bring the alien to Earth, 200 odd years later, Earth is destroyed anyway. Yeah. I mean that would have been a brilliant ending. But it would need a different movie to get to that ending. Yeah.
And she is kind of an alien, so she did bring it back to Earth in a way. So she,
yeah, good point.
And I just don't think that it can't decide what it wants to be, because there's some pretty like dark and serious ideas, and then there's like this goofy delivery, like this whole clone, like there's 7 other clones, like that's like it can be a very impactful scene, but it's like they end with some stupid joke at the end, like
the kiss.
Just like decide if you want to be like a fun action comedy, then do that, but don't try to be both. Like just decide.
I love that.
And the info dump we get with the Queen, with the giving birth to the, like, he's in the cocoon painful. With all this information, like that's so stupid. Like, why? Just if he wasn't there and we just saw it happen, and we didn't have him dumping all this information, I think it would have been like a holy shit, like, what's going on?
That's your gift to her, Ripley.
You know?
That's your gift. Like,
Yeah.
but-
It found its mother, you know, and that's fine if you want to do. Then just do that. Then be that, but don't try and be both. Like decide, and then just go with it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there was an identity crisis when this film, like, you obviously realize that Alien 3 was so dark that the producers or the execs in charge were like, we need to go lighter because no one liked it. It was commercially wasn't viable sort of thing. So they've obviously tried to go a different route. And exactly what you said there, Steve. I think they tried, the Josh Whedon sort of script was going to appealing to 12-year-old fanboys everywhere sort of thing with the kind of little notes and the little kind of tee-hee-hee jokes and whatnot. But then, as you said, like they have this kind of, they're trying to go with this whole like hybrid idea of like making the alien queen actually give birth to the newborn as opposed to like having like laying eggs like in a kind of insect sort of way. And then having like Ripley as a surrogate mother to the newborn. Like, I know, Susanna, you were saying like that creeped you out. For me, that was like laughably bad. Like with having this, I mean, the actual design of the creature, they've tried to humanize it, which I can see because like, in different iterations of what the alien looks like, sometimes you can see that there's like a kind of skull behind the kind of penis-shaped helmet sort of thing. In other versions, you don't see that sort of thing. This is like trying to humanize it by giving it eyes.
It should have been the
weird
baby of her and the
stuff.
doctor, right? Like with the cloning, that she was pregnant at the time that she died with the queen.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all either. Let's be honest. Like they got her DNA from the Fury 161, right?
She gave her DNA before that.
Oh,
But some people were like, yeah, but she was pregnant at the time. Did she sleep with the doctor
I
before
think
or after?
the baby alien
I think that's a leap. I think it's a leap that they have an alien.
It was
She's
part
like the
of
DNA.
her DNA. I mean, it even kind of looks like her a bit. The jaw, I thought that it was part of her DNA that made him that way, which was what made it creepy to me.
I don't even think
Where
of
did
that.
the pregnancy
so why
theory
isn't
came from?
why isn't Ripley the human pregnant then? If that's
Well, I guess what would happen to Ripley is that she would eventually lay eggs, if by the same logic.
Yeah.
If
She
they
would.
got their reproductive
And
systems
that's
mixed
how
up.
Earth gets screwed over in the end. That's because
I
she's
don't wanna-
now the new
I don't wanna see
alien
that
and
movie.
she's... Let's bring on number 5. Let's go.
Yeah, and I think obviously like with them returning to Earth, whatever version of the film that you see, you either see her and like, standing in the wastelands going, well, I wonder what's going to happen now. That was obviously like they were trying to sort of set up, I think, the fifth film, which would have then been on Earth and whatnot, which is, great. I think would have been the way to go. They should have gone with that version already with this film. But once again, they just rehashed a lot of older versions of like having a ship in space, like Alien, having a ragtag motley crew of mercenaries, like in the Cloning Marines, having the kind of trying to this new version of this. With it, like as you said, Steve, it doesn't bring anything new. It does bring new things into the mix, but they're not new enough that kind of like with Aliens, we found out there was a queen, we found out the life cycle was this, that, and the other thing. Alien 3, they brought the dog or the ox version, whichever alien thing you want to look at. With this one, it was more along the lines of like cloning and newborn.
And everything went too
which
fast.
At that point, is like you're looking for something
Everything
new.
went too fast as well because she got out a few days later. Oh, the queen is like, yay big. A few days later, or 24 hours later, those people are here. They got the face huggers on their face. We bred the aliens out of them. It's like, whoa, this is going very, very fast. The timetable is all messed up. I saw that as well.
But that was from the very beginning. Even back in Alien, the little alien in a few hours suddenly was big alien. We talked about this. That was too fast.
And then
So
The kind of
just
ingestion
go with it.
period has always been debatable. Like if you watch Alien versus Predator sort of thing, which if we won't even talk about that. But like the kind of point where the face hugger gets on, it's like literally it's like hours afterwards, and it kind of bursts forth. In the first one, like in the first Alien film, although there is a passage of time and you see the kind of skin shedding like a snake sort of thing, you do as a viewer you're feeling that a lot of time has passed. that, you know, since the creature has grown. With this one, yeah, you're right. It does feel like there's a lot of stuff happening, that you don't really sort of see, like, between the scenes, shall we say. Whereas, as you're a viewer and you get invested into it, you can believe it. There's that suspension of disbelief. But with this one, it's just going batshit crazy sort of thing. And it's like, well, now there's an alien that's giving birth. How? Why? We don't know. It's just there kind of thing. So, yeah. I think it's debatable, like in those kind of like timeline periods of how the alien life cycle works.
Well, because I've made my peace with that, with the alien life cycle. I think, again, from the first movie was just too fast. It should have shared the skin a few more times. I mean, come on. But what really upset me time-wise in this one was when they said they were like 3 hours away from Earth, and me thinking I couldn't help it. So where are they if they are so close? And at the same time, they're still using cryosleep to travel across, worlds. Yeah. And then, but to be 3 hours away, that's pretty close. Where are they? Or at what speed are they traveling? I think that could have been handled differently. And why crash on Earth? Especially since we didn't know that it was already destroyed, and how the movie was released then. Oh, it's so beautiful. Yeah, you just destroyed. You just killed how many people? So, like, crashing the ship.
That's the debate.
No one mentioned that. You could have crashed it somewhere else.
Killing
Moon, Mars,
hundreds of thousands of people to save millions. I mean, that's the debate.
I thought that was very sloppy. It could have done different. I mean, they didn't even have to mention, or I guess they would have mentioned the time, but I don't know. It felt wrong, and someone should have intervened and say, "Hey, maybe we should adjust this. Oh, it's something different. Just crash it on the moon, perhaps. I don't know, something."
They could have crashed it on Mars.
Yeah.
That could have been a cool combo, like aliens on Mars.
Yeah. And another kind of plot thread as well, which I forget now, was like Call, who we find out is an android. What was her special mission again? Wasn't she there to kill the Ripley hybrid? Isn't that her main mission? The
she company,
Weyland-Yutani have sent her to kill, like Ripley. I just thought that was a bit shoehorned
Everything
in as well.
Everything about the droid was weird. I mean, the guy, the soldier that is with them, like, man, I never thought I'd see one. Like, his reaction was so over the top. We're in the middle of a crisis. Everybody's dying left and right, and that's the thing. You're like, oh, I'm so hyped about this. Great, I guess. I mean, that was so weird. But coming back to the identity crisis, because that is also part of the identity crisis. You're saying that the humor is misplaced. We had such a dark period in the 90s. Like, there were so many movies that were just dark. I mean, the movie Dark itself. We also had 97 Event Horizon. That was a very, very dark movie that bombed because it was too dark for a lot of people. I love that movie, but it was too much. And yeah, they just went for the audiences, and that makes it a great action flick. They for me, they found that balance. The talk with when Ripley joins them and she says, who do I have to fuck to get off this boat? And then Ron Perlman says, like, I can get you off. I don't know about the boat. I was like, what?
But that is Joss Whedon at his best. Yeah.
And I love it.
Or his worst.
Oh no, come on, man.
It is debatable. I know.
You met these guys before.
I think in the right.
Yeah.
No, in the right set, like in Firefly, in that kind of in that world that it's built around
because
that humor.
Firefly
like
is bleak
it's
as
set
well.
up to be that.
You've seen the entire thing. The Reavers are so fucked up. I mean, it's so dark. It gets really dark, especially the movie.
Yeah. But like as you're saying, Steve, like with Firefly, like that's a swashbuckling adventure, I would say, and that's, as you said, like that is in itself what it is. So as a viewer going in, you kind of know what you're getting into. And I do agree there are some like dark moments in that film as well. But with the Alien
Yeah,
franchise,
because
like,
it's
you're,
the
you're
Alien
dealing with a
franchise.
different
I
beast.
understand. Okay, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And it's just, I'd say that the amalgamation of like having this, I mentioned before, like this European kind of feel to everything. Then you have the kind of weird humor that kind of works, doesn't work sort of thing. And then you have all these, once again, it goes back to that identity crisis, and it goes back to this kind of whole fact that it just doesn't really know what it wants to be. And like, as you mentioned there, like, you know, audiences at the time, there was obviously like, you know, we go through these societal loops kind of thing where, you know, you know, the early 2000s where it was the kind of torture porn with like Saw and Hostel and all this kind of stuff, that there is this kind of evolution of like how the audience, you know, how we're kind of like seeing movies and what we're seeing and whatnot. And I think this was a victim to that particular thing where it was trying to go lighthearted, like, you know, almost like this kind of 90s sitcom, like you can imagine like Ripley, you know, having the kind of like title come
And
up
everybody's
below and stuff
laughing
like
and
that.
clapping.
It just doesn't work for this
Well,
franchise. Yeah.
I think we found it. I think it really works, and that I feel that it doesn't have an identity crisis because it works as an action flick and as a movie, but it's the franchise that it doesn't work for.
Yeah. Agree.
But how is
Couple
that
things I
any
noticed
different
that-
than Alien versus Predator? I never watched Alien versus Predator, but it has to be
just
better.
Don't.
Yeah,
Don't
Steve,
bother.
Sorry.
So it is better. So
I don't know. That's debatable. Those are rough.
Is Alien Resurrection better than Aliens
Oh
versus
yeah,
Predator?
yeah.
There's
Resurrection
there's your hot
better
take there.
than AVP. Definitely. That 100%. But it's just
No.
yeah, no. Sorry, Steve.
The PG version. Yeah, the kind of...
I don't know which is better. That'd be tough. I think because Alien versus Predator goes all out, and I hate that movie, but if it goes, it completely ignores the timeline, completely ignores everything that's, and it's just like, we're just going to go nuts, and it just does
doesn't
it.
go all out.
And even
enough
though I
for
don't
me.
like it, it's like, at least it,
If you play the video games,
Oh,
it doesn't
yeah.
go all out enough.
yeah.
No.
No, I'm not a fan, but a couple of things
They
I
then try
noticed.
to make up with it. Sorry, go on, Steve.
No, sorry. I was going to say notice Ripley sheds her skin. I didn't really notice that until this time, this round, where she has like that sheet over her where she's like,
yeah. That
does this
weird scene that
weird thing.
she's moving in the
yeah, it's like that was, and that's another thing is they try to have like these really deep moments, like where she's shedding her skin and she's sticking her nail, like, and then the other thing was, why didn't she know that Cole was, or she was a droid? If she's an alien,
she
like,
could
wouldn't she
have smelled
known
it immediately, I think. But she's the new model. I mean, come on, man. Everybody makes mistakes. But with the skin, if you noticed, in the theatrical version, first she's lying on the ground without it, and then we go over to a scene where she's shedding the skin. Yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah.
I missed that. I never saw it as shedding the skin. I thought it was just getting out of her sack. That's not why you shed skin.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
It was something
So,
weird that
yeah.
she was getting out of.
yeah, just for effect, just like when she's
Was it supposed to be
lying with the
sensual or
aliens.
creepy?
That's again. Oh, the line is thin. I think it was supposed to be dramatic. You know,
yeah.
to symbolic. Yes, the rebirth.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, more than anything else.
Come on, Steve, repeat a new one.
No, I just like I said, I think it just doesn't can't decide what it wants to be, and that's my problem. It's uneven, and so yeah, that's my biggest thing. And then the baby, I get what they were trying to do with it, but I remember seeing it for the first time. I was like, what?
Yeah.
The queen's pregnant, like it's giving birth, and then on a rewatch, when it gets sucked through the airlock, that was like more disturbing than it should have been. Like, I'm surprised they went with it, because you do kind of feel for it at the end, because it's like it is part human, and it's like her child,
like someone in pain.
Yeah.
But I felt
They
sorry
went
for the
up.
queen when he killed it. I don't know. I never thought I would feel sorry for the Queen, but I felt sorry for the Queen. And but that scene, yeah, that was brutal.
Not as brutal as the scene where
Yeah.
the guy that has the chest burster still in him, and he takes the other
Oh,
guy's head.
yeah,
And is like,
We have to mention Leland Orser as Purvis. Like, if you need like a anxious kind of guy in your film, he is your go-to guy.
Ever since Seven, he's been the same guy everywhere. Is like anxious,
Yeah,
screaming,
true.
pale, perfect. That's
Yeah.
the guy.
Uncomfortable character actor. Like he nails it, kind of thing with this. Once again, as I said, like there are some really good shots, and like the bit where he takes is it Destane's head? I can't remember now. He gets his head and is like, we see this shot going down his
Throat,
kind of
yeah.
his throat, and then you see the kind of alien coming out, sort of thing. Really good shot. But yeah, does it add
Dr.
anything? Like,
Wren.
is it just once again? Is it just a cool shot to have a cool shot? Like, I would have. That was once again as another character who he's one of the unfortunate victims. Who's like, I wanted to know more about his story. Like, was he just like this space traveler? Like, what was his deal?
He
Like,
says-
they just kidnapped him.
tells-
He's like this hapless
so
victim.
he says like we're still en route to some kind of mining colony. We were supposed to get there. Where am I? So he says that in like 30 seconds or something. But yeah, that's all you get.
Yeah, and I think that there could have been like the whole redemption. Like, there could have been a redemption arc with this crew that are effectively, they're the villains. Let's be honest, they're the ones bringing all these like. But it never kind of gets called out. It's just like, you guys are fine. Like, you're just kidnapping people, bring them to like the scientists
Space
on board
pirates,
this
man,
vessel,
space
sort of thing.
pirates.
They don't really get space pirates, yeah, but they don't really get a comeuppance. There's no real like resolution to that. And like, you have this Purvis character who like wakes up and he's there is a moment where it's like, you did this to me, really? But that's it. There's no like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like thinking
They
too
were
much
going to
about it,
freeze
and I'm
him
thinking that there should have been
to
some.
get it out of him, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not much of character arts for anyone. They all kind of end as they started.
They are
Ripley
paper
maybe
thin
a little bit,
and too
but-
dynamic, two-dimensional. Yeah, as I said, like they've just got like these cool little quirks. Like, even if you look at like when you have like an ensemble cast like this, this is always something that I found. Like when you have a movie that has a lot of characters in it, it's always going to be hard for a character to shine because they're not given enough screen time. And you look back at like. John McTiernan's like Predator, right? You have this kind of mercenary group that go into the jungle. And I always remember, like, this was the DVD documentary that I watched on this. The one guy who was actually like I think he was like a real life Poncho, the character Poncho. He was like the only real life SAS or Navy SEAL amongst the group. Everyone else was like, you got Arnie's, Billy Potter, Jesse Ventura, all this kind of stuff. And they said to him, like, you're going to need something that makes your character stand out. And like, we're going to give you like this red bandana. And he was like, no, like he was thinking of the kind of mentality of like a soldier. Like, why would I be wearing something red that would like make me stick out in the jungle? I'm not going to do that. He's now gone back and said, like, after though, you see like all these characters. You got Blaine with the fucking machine gun, right? The kind of Gatling gun that
Mows
would
down
be
the
on a
forest,
kind of helicopter rather than in a. When you get these kind of characters, you have to give them something. And I felt like that's what they did with Alien Resurrection. You've got Christie, who's got the retractable guns. You've got the guy in a wheelchair who's
Freeze.
like, everyone has a thing, right? And it's that kind of 90s thing of like, if you've got a thing, then you're going to stand out. And it's like, yeah, but I'd actually rather you guys actually had a character development. Like, the original Alien film, there was only 7 characters, but you felt like you had emotional investment in these characters because they were real. They were real, like they felt like real life people that on this tugboat, that they were like these blue collared working class guys. Whereas with Alien Resurrection, they've just become so much of a caricature of each other and every one of them. It just doesn't really work.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. They don't need to evolve because, like you mentioned before, they were the villains. They started the whole thing. I don't think we were supposed to empathize with them. And they were already fully formed characters. They had their arc, somewhere else before they joined the Betty. It's not important. They were there just for their skills. They are the D&D party, let's put it this way, which I think is awful. Sorry, but I can't think of anything better. The ensemble, and it's how they work together, how they bounce off each other. That's the same with all ensembles. That's what makes it work and pushes the action forward. You know, it's
I
not
think
about
as well,
the this movie was not about the characters. Even Ripley
Sure.
or Alien, it was just about the action.
Yeah.
But this is where my trepidation comes in, because like we obviously know that Alien Romulus is going to be coming out, and I don't know if you guys have heard any information about
want
it, but
to.
it looks like they're going for like the slasher. They're basically going back to the slasher genre with this, having this young cast on this distant planet.
That's what they did with
this
the
is
first
what I
one,
feel like with
Prometheus, and then Covenant again. So
Yeah, I mean, it's that thing of, you know, the original Alien was meant to buck the trend of like this slasher sort of thing. It was a horror, but it was like a gothic sort of tale of this haunted house in space. Then you have like, you get to Alien Resurrection where they're just all these meat puppets that are getting picked off one by one. We're sort of devolving back into that slasher genre. And now with Alien Romulus that's going to be released, it just feels like they're going backwards. You know, they're treating it like a Scream thing now, and it's like this isn't what Alien's about. I hope to be proven wrong with Alien Romulus, but you know, I see the kind of, I'm too old and cynical, you know, and it's like I see the writing on the wall, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah, I saw the picture of the cast and I facepalmed and I'm like, no, this is not going to work.
Oh, no,
This is just going to be
really?
another nonsense.
And especially now it's the House of Mouse that are in charge. Oh,
I'm
God.
sorry, I didn't get the House of Mouse. I couldn't even be bothered to go and look. I was like, no, I can't. Whatever.
talking about meat puppets.
Call it whatever.
So the general was really bad choice of actor and character. But then you have a spaceship full of Marines. The first thing they do when all hell breaks loose, instead of fighting, they just, let's get out of here, boys. Yeah, I was like,
out, yeah.
okay, so those are Marines, huh? Is that in real life too? I mean,
they were so incompetent, but you kind of saw that from the beginning when they searched the crew of the Betty. It was just, things are beeping all over the place, but move it. But you could really tell from the start that it was not going to be about the Marines. We already had a movie about aliens versus Marines. They would be killed or ran away. I guess.
I still to this day I don't understand why they haven't like done a kind of TV show with the Colonial Marines. I think I've said it before in one of these alien discussions. Like, why I would pay money to see a film about this kind of motley crew of space colonial Marines.
Because
once again, it's in the comics, and the
video game was bad.
I love it.
The video game was so bad. They killed the IP. I'm sorry.
Not the Aliens vs Predator. The actual
Colonial Marines was so bad.
Not good.
I did like the underwater aliens though. I thought that was kind of
Yes.
cool.
Wow. I hated
like
that scene as a kid because it was so weird. It was like, why are they just taking her instead of killing her? But now I know why they took her. It was like, why are they taking her? Because they killed the captain in the beginning.
Yeah, I thought that was a good take as well. Like, you have, if in any kind of like horror film, like there's always going to be some kind of theme, or there's going to be something that, what are you scared of? Are you scared of like dark places? Are you scared of confined spaces? And we've kind of seen that previously, like in, little kind of tiny ducks where, in an alien like Dallas is like, that kind of feeds on your fear, right? So what do most people, there's a lot of people that don't like being in the water. There's a lot of people that feel like that you're essentially, you can't breathe, right? So I think, I agree that they did do that. That scene was particularly good. Like I don't consider myself a strong swimmer. I can swim, sure, but you wouldn't see me going down, like trawling through the kitchen area where the mess hall or wherever it is sort of thing. I wouldn't be able to do it. I can't open my eyes underwater sort of thing. I just can't do it. So for me, that's where I would die. If I was in that group sort of thing, that's where I'd be like,
that's good to know.
I'm going to have to find another way.
That scene was that scene
yeah.
was the Poseidon adventure in space. If anyone saw that.
Yeah. I mean, the Terran Inferno, the Poseidon adventure, like it is that kind of element sort of thing, and I think that kind of worked well. And then we found out something new, like this perfect organism can adapt to what environment it's in. We can see that these aliens can swim mighty fine and don't have a problem. And that one shot where Hillard's like dragged away, that for me was the kind of where she's like,
Yeah.
like, you know, she goes into darkness. That was like, I was like, oh, that's probably the best scene of the whole film, in my opinion. And I'm being fair. I'm trying to be fair here.
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that was good.
Everything you said.
No, it
is
was very
invalid.
well done. I liked that they based on iguanas. Do it.
Oh yeah.
So it was a good choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, with the tail and everything. Good choice.
I did like that they they communicate and they catch it. They develop a plan to kill the other alien to
Yeah.
make it bleed to escape. I thought that was kind of cool. They seem like they can learn and adapt pretty quickly, but I don't know why they sweat so much or why they drool so much. That was really they're constantly
the
dripping.
gore
like
effect.
this.
Just more gore is more icky. You know, like every gun they pick up. Oh, it's sticky. Oh, they're standing in. We're close to the nest. They're standing in sticky stuff. It was the sticky period. I mean,
Yeah.
Alien Resurrection,
The
the
sticky
sticky
period.
period. I love it. That's the tagline.
man.
That's the tagline. The sticky
it
period.
would have done better. It would have done better.
Yeah. I tell you what, one character death that I never, and I still to this day can't get over, is when they're going up the ladder, and Christie's got Vriss on his back, sort of thing.
There was no
And
need.
There was no need.
There was no need, right?
There was no
so he
need.
kind of like does that kind of really cool sort of John
Yeah,
Woo
the
style.
shooting,
I'm
yeah.
gonna go over my back and start shooting, sort of thing. And then he shoots one in the head. He gets splashed with acid.
No,
and
no,
I
no, no.
understand
He gets
that he's splashed with acid.
with acid when he gets he gets spit
When
on.
he
That was the
shoots
first
it.
time I saw it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, he gets spit on.
yeah.
And that's once again.
Yep,
Yeah,
correct.
so we see a new thing of what an alien can do, like this variation of this alien can
Yeah.
spit, and that's a really cool concept, which doesn't really, as far as I know, hasn't really been explored any further than this one item. And I like, once again, like we all know that the alien creature adapts to whichever parasitic, like the host of what it. We knew that in Alien 3, like with either the ox or the dog sort of thing, whichever version. We know that it kind of becomes, the mechanical, biomechanical structure of it is whatever the host is. And I like that. So, yeah, you had this kind of theme of this kind of spitter alien, which, yeah, you're right. Sorry, I
that's
get
fine.
splashed at him. But then he kind of like turns around, he's just like dangling, going, I'm gonna. Why did he have to kind of? I mean, he didn't need to kind of cut himself off, then drop into the thing.
Seeing
It's
it
like,
again, I
weird
was
death.
thinking he didn't get the acid off him, and it was still going because he gets it on his eye, on his face, and also on his head. That it goes through his
Yeah.
skull, and he knows that he's about to die because it's going through. That's what
Okay.
I thought now, because before I was
yeah.
like, why does he do this? But now I was like, it's on his head, and you cannot remove it. It's going deeper and deeper into his skull, and I think he's going to die eventually because it's going to hit his brain.
I think they should have showed that then. They should have showed like seeing
Yeah.
brain or skull matter
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Not like the other guy, like-
for me anyway, would have been like,
Yeah, but then if
oh, it's
he,
part of my brain. Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
but if he
Suzanne?
was dead, he wouldn't be able to release the belt, and then
Yeah, but
they
it
both
did
would
it
have died.
before
So that
he died.
actually makes sense, because it always annoyed me, thinking just turn around and grab the effing ladder.
The rain, yeah.
But he felt it going through his skull, I think. I'm trying to
Okay,
make sense
fair
of this
enough,
movie
that,
now.
That justifies it.
You're trying to defend it too much now, man.
10 out of 10, best movie ever. I mean, come on.
Cinematic masterpiece.
Yeah. I mean, at a certain point, Ripley takes out the grabby mouth of the one of the xenomorphs. Like she takes it out and she's like, souvenir. I'm like, why did she grab that? It looks like a
No.
dildo. I mean, come on. She's like, boop, boop,
It does,
boop, boop.
and I do think that is the only reason why it's there.
Yeah.
Why they shot that scene.
Knew it. I knew it.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well, we know like this is the 4th installment now, and the beast, as it were, has lost it's like, you know, when you see like Freddy Krueger films, like the first one's really dark, the second one is in its own self is a separate film, the third one. By the fourth one, maybe it's the curse of the fourth film, but by the fourth one, you always find that now these boogeymen type characters now becoming caricatures of themselves, and they have to spoof it up and they have to make it PG
you remember
friendly
the
and
first
stuff like that. Sort of thing.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the real life
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
You don't
very
get
good.
to see them for a part of it because they're like, oh, who are these ninja dudes? Who are these heroes? Like, what do they look like? And then in the second one, it's almost all you see. In the third one, it's even worse. It gets worse the more you see them because you start to notice things that
Yeah.
are not right.
And by this time now, we all know, you know, the zeitgeist of like, you know, have seen that like we've become desensitized to it. So like what Steve was like, what you mentioned earlier, like, you know, bringing something new to the fray. Once again, there are, like as you said, like the spitter alien, the kind of newborn alien. These are new ideas, but they're not new enough to kind of push the envelope. They're not new enough to kind of, you know, you could have had like this whole, I don't know, new ecosystem with the aliens or something. There should have just been something else that was like new that like made you think, wow. Like when you first saw the alien queen in Aliens, you were like, wow, this is a big mama, right? This is the life cycle and everything like that. In this one, it was like, okay, this weirdly childlike kind of alien now is coming through, and it's like, what is going on?
That's what they try with the
yeah.
new ones. Where you guys are going to talk about. I'm not sure I'm gonna make it because I think I'm traveling that day. But that's what they tried with the new ones, and I really don't think they succeeded. Honest opinion.
I am
Did they
dreading.
intend for this to be a one-off? Oh, you're dreading those?
Yes.
I'm quite looking forward to Prometheus and Covenant sort of thing, because Prometheus, for what it was trying to do, like Ridley Scott's coming back onto the director chair, he knew himself that the beast, like he's said himself, like the beast is dead, so he had to kind of introduce new like ways. There's like heavy religious themes going on. There's like the engineers focusing on the engineers, like the actual, you know, going back to like the original, like how these are explained. And although it was flawed for several different reasons, which we'll get into on that debate, you know, it was trying to take a new direction. And then obviously not a lot of people liked it. And then Covenant came out to try and, you know, do away with what was previously. And it's once again has become a mishap. It's like the new Star Wars films, you know, where were safe, and like the first one was trying to sort of emulate the kind of previous series, and then Rian Johnson came in and like tried to mix things up, but that in itself then hurt the franchise, and you know, it's that kind of thing as well. But anyway, going back to Alien Resurrection, I think you're saying like it's a one shot. I think they were trying to sort of rebrand it and like make a new sort of like series with the whole like returning to Earth, and I think that would have been a good way to go. But for whatever reason, was this actually? I don't know if anyone's going to. Was this a commercial success?
I don't think so.
Was Alien Resurrection a commercial success, or was it a flop?
The box office.
It was quite big at the time, but yeah, financially, you know.
I do remember it being like big, and I think it was one of those ones where people went to see it because it's a new Alien film, great. But then word of mouth was like, this isn't what we were hoping for.
Oh, there we go. United States. So the budget was 75 million, and gross US and Canada was 48 million. And worldwide was 161. That's semi-success, I think.
Yeah.
If they spent, what was it, 70, 80 million?
75.
So it broke even because I think they factor in half the budget is
Yeah, okay. So,
marketing. So they maybe broke even.
But they had a concept for Alien 5, and the concept art for that one is crazy, because they started
the Neil Blomkamp
putting Ripley in the whole alien outfit, being the new queen and stuff,
like an exoskeleton thing. Yeah, that was the one where they were going to retcon. It was going to basically take from Alien, so Michael Biehn as Hicks was going to return. That was that one,
I think
right?
So yeah.
Yeah. I think that was going to
but then-
retcon. That was going to retcon 3 and 4, though, right? I
Alien
think that
3
was-
and 4, yeah. But then really Scott got
I'm
back on
so
board because
glad
he was
that-
like, no, this is my baby.
That never happened.
And then that all sort of made that go kaput. Yeah, that would have been great. Like seeing Michael Biehn back as Hicks, seeing Newt back and Bishop and everything like that. All right, I tell you what, I'm going to defend Alien Resurrection in this regard. One thing that I did like that what they've done so far with all the kind of androids that they've had, like Ash, A, Aliens, Bishop, B, Alien Resurrection, Call, C, and then Prometheus, David, D. So it's A, B, C, D. Like they're going through the alphabet in that respect, and that's the only one thing I will say that I enjoyed.
I call that a win.
That was intentional.
So,
You converted me. I love Alien Resurrection.
Yes, you do. 10 out of 10.
love it.
There you go. We just have to convince Steve now.
Never realized that.
Yeah. But I mean, thematically, like, what do you think? Is it just cloning? Cloning is bad. Bad cloning.
Yeah,
Like with all the different films, like you have all these kind of underlying subtext themes that are going on. What are the themes in Alien Resurrection? Bad is cloning is bad. Birthing process, rebirth. I mean, it's called Alien Resurrection for a reason that they're bringing back Ripley, but apart from that,
the working class lives don't matter. The military doesn't do anything, and one-liners are amazing.
robots are better than people.
Yeah.
In this case.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Another one could be because they merge everything together, right? So it's this big military now. It's like a united military. Everyone. So I think when you like big government can't get anything right because they're all incompetent.
Have they
bad for
ever?
jobs.
Seriously?
But well, it's worse. It's worse now because if in this film because they've all merged together and it's like it's not even corporate. It's like not even a corporate thing. It's like it's just like this large conglomerate of everything together, and they're all.
That's what they call failing
garbage.
upwards. I mean, come on.
I guess.
the other thing as well, yeah, is like when surely they've been studying the alien species, so they know it's got acid for blood. So wouldn't they, like the whole alien breakout scene, like wouldn't they have known to kind of keep these
but they're not smart enough. They were going to train them like doggies. We're training Ripley.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, because he has the button, doesn't he? And
Yeah,
he's trying to train a thing. But surely they would have contained them in cells that are like acid proof. Like surely that's a first thing when you're kind of ticking the boxes of we're going to create these we're going to train these creatures. One of them is, hey, they've got acid for blood. We should probably put them in somewhere where the acid can't bite through the thing.
And probably should put them alone, not in groups. But never mind. Maybe they didn't have enough
I think
room.
that it's maybe they ran out of rooms. I think that's part of it is convenience to move the plot along, and part of it is like how incompetent these people are, like how dumb they are.
Yeah.
So it's
I think it was more for the alien's sake than the people. It showed that the people were incompetent, but also showed that they are the ultimate, or to remind us that they're supposed to be the ultimate survivor, and they would do whatever it takes, whatever is necessary to survive, including killing one of their own.
I mean, you're trying to find logic, like how much blood is in the human body, and then look at Die Hard, John McClane. I mean, he should have died.
It's true.
There's a counter for it, isn't there? Like he should have died 10 times, 20 times in that movie, the first movie alone. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. During Christmas sort of thing, they have this thing on Sky, like the science behind movies, and they had the science behind Die Hard, where they like go through all the kind of things of like how much trauma the body, like the whole like jumping off the building with the fire hose, like he would have died instantly there. Like it's not elastic and stuff like that. So when you get into the kind of
people still love
the
it
suspension of
because it's an
disbelief,
action flick.
you know.
Just look at this as an
But that's
action
it.
flick. Try to backpedal on the whole Aliens franchise. It's fan fiction action flick. You will love it.
That's what
I love the convincing going on. You're trying to convince me it's not going to happen.
Well,
And then, sorry, go on, Steve.
no, I do think it's cool that they took a swing, though. I mean, give them that. Like, at least they tried. I mean, they did, because they had to have known, like, we're going to go a different direction. And I guess it's playing it less safe than just doing what we've already had 3 times before. So in that sense, I guess it's like, hey, well, at least you tried something different. Even if I didn't like it, at least you tried. Like
Yeah.
at least you went forward and said, fuck it, and let's just like be funny and
It's not a
you know,
total
do
failure.
this mishmash.
It's not gonna be the best movie ever, but it's still a movie, a watchable movie for me. Ooh, debatable again. I lost them. Well, yeah, I failed.
Like the whole thing as well, like towards the end, like with the telepathy, we know you have like the clone Ripley shares some kind of bond. I think they could have gone down that road a little bit more. They could have. I don't know what they could have done. I mean, I can't really throw out suggestions of where it could have gone in that respect. But I felt like there was something there. It just wasn't really delved into
Just
enough.
an idea. Would it have been cooler that she started to lose skin and stuff like in The Fly? That she started to converge, started to change in something else, and then murdered everybody aboard and got away with the plane.
It's interesting because obviously, yeah, the William Gibson script for Alien 3 kind of goes into that kind of area where, you know, the human, the DNA sort of thing, like you become like an alien through ripping off the skin and stuff. I actually think that
Then none of the
yeah.
characters would have
I-
mattered. Then we were like seeing a birth of a new species, but then mixed with Ripley.
You know what? I think you might be onto something there because I think I would have preferred it if we found like the clone Ripley was starting to kind of devolve into a kind of creature, and she started then killing off maybe some of the characters. That like she becomes the villain. I think that would have been a good way to go. To be honest, yeah.
Yeah, as a spin-off,
William
I think
Gibson
that would have made sense. Yeah, it would made me very angry though, at the time.
Oh yeah. It would have been
That's
divisive. Like people would have like they
But
maybe
it
that
would have
was a
been a
version of
cult
the
classic
script
by
like,
now.
where they had that
Instead of either really hate it or you're dumb and you love it. I mean,
yeah. But what was the next one after this? Was it Alien versus Predator?
Ooh.
So what was the gap? This was 1997.
It probably
right?
is because
so what was the next film
Prometheus
after
is a
this?
lot
'Cause it
later.
felt like a long gap.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a long gap.
AVP.
Yeah, I think the Aliens AVP is what, in
2004.
2000.
And then the
4.
second one is 2007. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're canon though. They're just like those are.
Yeah.
They've said we're just ignore the timeline. We're just having fun. So
They're having fun with it.
But I think it goes to show that, when this was released in 1997, that there was such a large gap because of, it's like the whole Batman thing, like when Tim Burton's, when Batman Returns happened, and there was such a large gap then between the Joel Schumacher iteration sort of period, and then it had to be rebooted.
And what a reboot
And I think
it was.
this is the only kind of and like this is the same thing, like once again as I was saying, like talking about Romulus and like how they're gonna rebrand, if you will, without Ripley being the kind of main protagonist now. Like are we going to be invested in a new group and new people? Like are we going to have the new heroes passing the torch kind of thing to like these new groups? Are we going to be emotionally invested in these kids? I don't know, but I think that Alien Resurrection should have been the kind of starting a new brand at that point, and they didn't. They played it safe and went with what we know from before. So, as you said, they took a swing, but they made a swing and a miss. But there you go.
Oh yeah, I had just pulled it. I didn't know that there's a teaser trailer for Romulus. So I just, but yeah, just skimming through it, I'm not encouraged. Just like you said, Suzanne, looking at the cast, it's like it's a Disney. It has Disney's fingerprints all over it.
I can see that there's a link. If you're on the page, there's a link to an Alien series based on the franchise. By the way, TV series.
Yeah, there's an Alien series as well coming out, which is apparently going to be focusing more on the kind of Weyland-Yutani Corporation.
Main actor
on the actual
Timothy
beasties.
Oliphant.
Yeah, Justified.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that, to be honest with you, because we've always seen the corporation, the Weyland Yutani Corporation, as more of a kind of background antagonistic sort of the company are bad sort of thing. So I actually do think it's going to be a good idea to explore that, like the kind of the corporation, the executives in charge, like the kind of Carter J. Burke sort of like type people. I think there's going to be a lot of, the whole like management and how, working class people are undermined by the execs or the management and stuff like that. I think that's a really interesting route to explore. So I am looking forward to that, the TV show. Yeah, Romulus, not so much.
It looks
I kind of also want.
Yeah. No,
Sorry, go on.
just the Romulus. It looks like it's going to be the most gory one of them all, because the guys working on it, their movies aren't great, but they're so gory. I mean, this is going to be blood splatter, 2 hours long. Yeah, sorry.
But then once again, have we is this stuff we've already seen? Like, I've always kind of felt like I don't want it to be a slasher. I don't like we've seen you've seen so many films of like that kind of thing. Like, what new elements can you bring to the fray? What we've seen, what the alien is capable of. How are they going to sort of gore is gore? Like we've become as a kind of as film lovers, you've been so desensitized because of that whole like torture porn scene that we've kind of gone through, like the whole Saw series. Like we've seen people get decapitated or get like parts of their limbs taken off like in various ways. What are you going to do to kind of like shock us? Not just shock value, but like to actually go like, wow, the whole process of like the first Alien film back in 1979, where you had like kind of male rape sort of iconography, sort of like with a chest burster and whatnot, for its time was mind blowing. Now it's like we've become so numb to it. Like, what can you bring that will make us as a nation, make us as film lovers, film goers, go like, wow, that was something that was like will be burnt in my retinas for time to come.
And there's also another project in the works with.
It's gonna have to be more psychological than visual.
Yeah.
Even the
definitely
the whole male rape thing only worked because of the psychological build-up.
Romulus will be
how well it was designed.
Yeah, but it's not gonna be like that. Sorry. I can give that in black and white.
Maybe we'll see people pick the back of their heads and see their brains. And
oh, look, my brain. Oh, this isn't as bad as I thought it'd be. I'm glad some of us liked it, because otherwise it'd be kind of boring. So no, it was fun. So what would all of you give this one as you sit today? What would you rate it? 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
Can I give 2 ratings?
As an Alien movie?
Sure.
Like, it would be a 7. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
As an action flick, yeah.
Yeah. As an action flick,
7.
it would be a definite 7. As an Alien franchise movie, it wouldn't even be a 5.
I can't think of it that way.
Yeah, it's very hard.
I can't get my head around it. I can.
Yeah.
I have to keep it separate.
Yeah.
As an action film, I would give it high. I'd give it like a 6, 7. As an Alien film, it's a low 4 for me.
I agree. Yeah, it's a 4 for me. Just because I can't, I can't do it. It's just so silly.
You can't bring it into
makes
words.
Everything easier.
I can't.
Yeah, I just can't do it. Just can't do it.
It's fine, Steve.
But,
it's fine.
It's still fun.
We
to
forgive
talk
you,
about.
Steve.
Yeah. It'll be fun. It's going to be a big change going into Prometheus, though. It's a big jump from this one. And I think this franchise needs a break, too.
I only watched it in the cinema, and I think I remember coming out of the cinema more than the actual movie at this point, but I still remember how angry I was. So yeah, it's going to be fun to watch.
And I'm going to miss it.
Yeah. Be a good one. But so in the meantime, Susanna, where can people find you?
You can find me at the Page Chewing Forums, at my YouTube channel, and on X as Chronodendron.
Nice. And Joshua?
On the Page Chewing Forums.
Nice. And Anthony.
Also on the Page Chewing forums, but also on YouTube, Horrible. And you can see my books on Amazon if you're so inclined.
Yes. You guys are so bad at promoting your books.
I know. I always
I have all the links below.
because you see, they don't quite fit the conversation of like, oh, and by the way, I have books about mythology. It's just, or
Yeah.
just, I guess they don't quite fit. But yeah, please, you can find them through the links in all my socials. Have a look. They're quite entertaining.
Yeah, I have all the links. I have all the links in the description, so be sure and check them out. And so yeah, next week will be Prometheus. It'll be fun. We'll be exploring that one again. Yes.
Looking
Thanks
forward to
everybody.
that.
We'll see everybody
Thank you
soon.
so much. Until next time.
Take care. Bye-bye.